Hey guys, welcome to another YouTube video, and of course, since now the AFL season has ended, and of course the I don't know if you've heard, but trade talk and rumours are flying all left, right, and centre. So obviously, it is time to start the BD AFL trade talk for 2023. I did one episode last year. I wanted to do more, but unfortunately, time restraints. So then I didn't quite do it. I'm hoping to get through more episodes. Get more episodes done this year. So apologies for not having this first episode starting so late. I was intending to start it after the final round of the home and away season, but all the other things, about the final series and all other stuff, I just couldn't get time to do it. But now I do. Obviously, now that the season's done, so that's why it's basically starting now. But there is a hell of a lot to get through. So the rumours we're going to talk about is throughout the news are going throughout the past week. Now, by the way, these are all from the Zero Hanger website, which is one of two reliable sources for me in terms of trade rumours and that. The other one is, of course, the Raw as well. There would be some ones like AFL.com.au and the Herald Sun and that, but and all that, but I wouldn't that sort of stuff. So those are the two sources I normally get for trade rumours and all that. So the headlines to come out of this week were this. So young Bomber requests trade to the Hawks. Blues targeting Gold Coast midfielder and Bulldogs defender. Melbourne mid seeks trade to Swans. Goldie tied to Premiers. Hawthorn turns attention to 2024 options. Eagles forward makes trade backflip. We'll talk more about that. Roster boss downplays Bombers trade dealings as well. Clarko provides update on Mackay and compensation pick. BZT keen to land at Port. The Power put future first on the table. Crows tour linked to GWS move. Geelong preparing to part ways with pick 7. We'll talk more about that as well. And Tigers tricky junction in list plans. A segment which is back, some might say by popular demand, by unpopular demand. It's a bit 50-50. Is Bray's trade trade deals, because I'm a bit of half and half in a way in terms of these things, but I try my best in terms of trade dealings and all that, and it's all and it's gonna be 3 deals so far. In this for this first episode, but it's all to do with one club. We'll tell you that in a bit. As I drink of water. There we go. So let's start at the very top in terms of the agenda. It was confirmed about 4 or 5 days ago. And I actually got this news from a mate of mine who is my boss at work. He first told me of this news. That Essendon defender Massimo D'Ambrosio has reportedly requested a trade to Hawthorn. So my thoughts on that is obviously, my thoughts on that. Well, he's only I think he's only made. He hasn't had that much. I wouldn't mind if he goes. To be perfectly honest, I'm a bit half and half in a way, because he hasn't had that many opportunities. In a back in terms of a back line where you have Hind, Redmond, Ridley. We didn't have that much options in terms of and obviously we all know in the round 12 game, I believe it was against North Melbourne, he ended up winning the game for us as a sub, kicking the match winning goal. But he hasn't had that much options. He hasn't had that has had that many opportunities since making his debut. It says here round 14 last year. So he's only played it said he only played 16 games since he was drafted in the mid-season draft back in 2020 last year. So he has only 16 appearances, and he's had limited opportunities as well. Maybe just maybe that might be, I don't know. So apparently, that it might be a thing that possibly his thing could have come to an end. Apparently, according to Cal Toomey from AFL.com.au, apparently he reported, well, obviously, it's apparently said that the report was that Essendon had offered D'Ambrosio a 1-year deal, a 1-year extension, but he didn't accept it. I think he rejected it. Rejected the 1-year deal. Maybe he wanted a more of a long-term deal, so maybe Hawthorn can provide him that, as well as also a first-team start in their backline, maybe. And it's also reported here as well that neither Essendon nor Hawthorn have spoken about on his reported trade request, which that won't be a matter of time before they will do that, because the trade period starts in about a week and a half, I think. Yeah, I think it starts in about a week and a half. Yes. No, actually, it starts, almost next week. So eventually those talks should happen. But I believe for me, in terms of our depth, in terms of our backline, it'd be a bit of a blow, really, in terms of our depth. But if it's for D'Ambrosio to have more opportunities to play in the backline in the first team with the Hawks, and he also fits their age bracket at Hawks' age bracket very well. Obviously, they really did improve throughout 2022, even though it started a little bit grim. But Sam Mitchell, I believe, he coached them pretty well coached the young side pretty well throughout the year, and hopefully with that as well. Currently the draft picks that Hawthorn have picks 3, 30, 49, and 78. So if that deal was to happen, I think for me, I wouldn't mind, because I've got the draft order here right now. So Essendon's picks were picks 8, 28, 47, 68, and 83. I wouldn't mind I wouldn't mind if they parted, if we just get pick 49 and then they get D'Ambrosio just to get the deal done. I don't think there's going to be much piss button around in terms of this deal. I believe that they would both, because I believe if D'Ambrosio wants out, then Essendon probably should, grant him that wish really on that front. So it's pretty interesting in terms of that. Well, there's another Essendon youngster that's on the way out. We'll get to that later. Next one is Carlton. Obviously, they were linked to a certain amount of people. Of course, they were linked to Jay Gresham, which that's died down massively. Which we'll talk about him later. Apparently, according to SCN's Sam Edmund, which is most notably listened to most of the things said on TikTok, on SCN's TikTok. Apparently, according to him, he said that the Blues are keen on bringing the contracted Gold Coast Sun back to Victoria. That would reunite him with his younger brother Ollie at the Blue Baggers. So yeah, apparently it said apparently, and this is the big one here. It said apparently Edmund had said it says here, highly likely to leave. I think it's going to be Carlton. That's what he said. So he's only played 13 games so far for the Gold Coast Suns. Have Elijah Hollands. Again, limited opportunities at the Gold Coast Suns. Obviously, you have the likes of Rao, Anderson. You got Rao, Anderson, Miller, Ellis, and so on and so forth at the Gold Coast Suns. Obviously the rise of two of Moe's finest in Sam Flanders, he's from Newborough, but which is if you don't know, realize it's basically Moe and Newborough are basically separated by a bridge. So that's how close they are to each other. That's how close Moe and Newborough are. But basically, they're basically Moe pretty much. So yeah, and Sam Flanders and Bailey Humphrey. Also, the emergence of them in the midfield as well, which give them more or less less and less opportunities for guys like Hollands as well. So maybe with him being in Melbourne, maybe that would see him an options to possibly go back to Victoria. So yeah, and apparently also what I've read also here is what Sam Edmund also said was apparently that they are going to nab him with a future pick to satisfy Gold Coast. So I wonder what that future pick would be. I highly doubt it's going to be a future first. I think it's either going to be a future second or third. Apologies for that, knocking over the camera there. It's high. I think first is too high. I think third downwards is too low. I think it's a future second. I think they would part. I think Gold Coast would part with a future second rounder. To be honest, of course, because obviously it says he's only played 13 games since he was drafted back in 2020. So pretty much it, and the big one is the ending part of this that Sam Edmonds said was Carlton in the box seat to land him with his brother Ollie. So probably the Hollands brothers more and more likely are going to play with each other at Carlton. So yeah, but both in the same midfield alongside, Cripps, Walsh, Akers, that sort of stuff. Could he get an opportunity there? Really, I don't know. I think for me, there's even though he's from Victoria, I think there will be a lot more other opportunities from other clubs. I think that Elijah Holland should go for because to be honest, to be honest, really, if he goes to Carlton, it's just basically going to be the same thing. He's just going to basically get to have limited opportunities again, and basically he's going to play mostly going to play VFL footy for Carlton. So that's probably my worry there. But yeah, so yeah, and apparently, and of course, Hollands was a key contributor to the Suns' VFL Grand Final win last Sunday over Werribee. So yeah, but apparently, according to Sam Edmund, Hollands is not the only one that is linked to Carlton. I said there was a Bulldogs defender that's linked there. That being Hayden Crozier, former Docker as well. Believed, according to Sam Edmund, apparently he's on the Blues radar. So apparently, according to this here, Crozier doesn't know. It says here, I'm going to read this now. Crozier is yet to learn where his future lies at the kennel and could be delisted by the Dogs in the coming weeks. With the Blues set to be ready to pounce on the former Fremantle forward. And this is what Edmund said. It said about it. Said Hayden Crozier, who has fallen out of favour at the Whitten Oval in more recent times after crossing from Fremantle, has some interest from Carlton here. As he added. He added as well. There might be. I'm not gonna read all of it, obviously, because otherwise we'll be here for 2 hours. And yeah. There might yet be that might be as a delisted free agent. It's hard to know what is going to happen with Hayden Crozier, who is out of contract at the end of the year. I wouldn't be surprised if Carlton pursue him a little bit further in come the coming weeks and months. So yeah, and as said, obviously, of course, Crozier has fallen out of favour there at obviously with the Doggies. Not much opportunities there for him really. And apparently, as I said, apparently he's going to be delisted apparently by the Dogs in a matter of weeks. So it's only so it would make sense, obviously, and he would add some depth, obviously, to the Carlton backline. I mean, Carlton backline, obviously, you have in the back line, you have Wiedering, Marchbank, Wiedering, Marchbank. Plowman, I think, retired as well. I think Lockie Plowman, has retired. So you have Marchbank, and then obviously you have like guys like Wiedering and that. So he would add a lot to that back line, to be honest. It would Crozier. I think I would probably, if I would, I'm still 50-50 about Hollands, to be honest, going to Carlton, because as I said, it would basically be, he would basically go from one club which he can't get in the best 22 in, to another club where he can't get in the best 22 in, because obviously of course with Cripps, Walsh, Akers, and Hewitt and so on and all of them, it's going to be impossible to break in that side unless one of those gets injured or suspended. But Crozier, I think he'll have a bit more of an impact there at Carlton, I believe, than what everyone else would probably think, and I believe there are some truth to what Sam Edmund has said about Crozier, that possibly as a delisted free agent, obviously, and I think he'll add more to to the Blues backline. Moving from one Melbourne team to another, but in terms of the other way around, in terms of the trade, it was confirmed on Twitter, on X, or on Twitter, or whatever you want to call it, by Cal Tooby. My Cal Tooby to me said that James Jordan will not be at Melbourne next season, and he's chosen Sydney as his destination, and of course obviously he's an unrestricted free agent, which means that he's basically going in that direction. And Melbourne, of course, can't do a damn thing about it. So yeah, which I think for me he adds a bit to that midfield. But I think now apparently Jordan also he was also linked to the Bulldogs. He was linked to Essendon, St Kilda, and also Carlton, who are also all interested in his services. But he has chosen Sydney. I believe it's the right choice for him. I believe being alongside guys like Chad Warner, Parker, Heaney, all these guys, and obviously coached under, of course, a great coach in John Longmire. I think that it would work wonders for him. I think it would work. Yeah, it would work absolute wonders for him, and so on and so forth, as well. And then there's some other off-season dealings as well that Melbourne have to contend with. Obviously, of course, they've also Sydney. Obviously, Sydney and Melbourne are also going to be dealing as well with the dealings of Brodie Grundy. We still don't know where he's going to where he will lie. Apparently, Eddie Maguire came out on Footy Classified last week, I think, before grand final week, or on preliminary final week, came out and boldly said that the Brodie Grundy deal will be one of the first deals to get done in the trade period. And I disagree with him on that, because I believe we more I can't think of the words. More sophisticated than I don't know if that's the word, but that's the only word that came into my head. Sophisticated, that more complicated. That's the one. That's the word. Complicated than what it's going to be. Yeah. So obviously, yeah, and then obviously, and obviously another one as well, James Harmes. Apparently, he's likely to leave the club as well. Like others, limited opportunities in that. And then obviously, and also on the other side of things, they're expected via trade to get Crows small forward Shane McAdam as well. So it's going to be a busy trade period for Melbourne there. But back on James Jordan, I believe it'll be a good situation really for Sydney. I believe join the likes of Warner, Heaney, Parker, all these guys as well. I think that it could be the potential in making him even a better player, to be honest, than what he did at Melbourne. So it's pretty big one there for a pretty big signing really for Sydney to get James Jordan. I won't be surprised, because the friendship period opens on Friday, I think. Yeah, it starts October 6th, so it's it starts October 6th, so that I think it's Thursday the free agency period opens. So I won't be surprised that's one of the first, free agency deals that would go through. To be honest, in terms of that, I would presume really on that front. On that front as well. Next one is of course Todd Goldstein, which a few weeks ago it was rumored that Essendon were the favourites to get in Todd Goldstein, obviously be a like replacement for the now retired Andrew Phillips, and then obviously be sort of a ruck coach to Nick Bryan, get some experience into him. Now it looks like, and Collingwood's time is just going to get even better after they won the flag yesterday. Now they are rumored. Now, not only they are in the chase for Todd Goldstein, but the bloody black and white bastards, sorry for my language, are apparently front runners to get Todd Goldstein. That is despite having Cameron and Cox in their side. So obviously, I thought Cox, especially in the latter half of the season, in terms of his rucking, has been good, but necessarily not great. To be honest, and Cameron's stocks have basically gone down, really. In the ruck, he does still ruck, but not as good as what he probably was. So apparently, of course, it will be, and it's also what it says here, of course, Port Adelaide's Bryn Teakle also is, it's going to be linked to Arden Street, obviously, and obviously that would, with Goldie's departure, that would mean Tristan Sherry will be the number one ruckman over there now. He made number one ruckman. Obviously Teakle previously had been linked to. Also has been linked to, of course, GWS and the Bulldogs, who obviously are going to be losing Jordan Sweet, who is also going to be going to Port Adelaide, or requested a trade to Port Adelaide. And obviously, it more or less this is more of a rucking merry-go-round, pretty much. It says here, in the article I'm reading, it says a ruck merry-go-round. So apparently, according to reports, both St Kilda and Essendon were interested, and obviously the main leader in that was Essendon. However, now, as I said, the side that could be best suited to, swoop, if yes, pardon the pun, would be Collingwood. So of course with Cameron, and of course with Darcy Cameron, obviously, as I said, Darcy Cameron and Cox, and then obviously Frampton. He not really is a known ruckman. He's basically known as a utility player, basically, where Craig McRae put him like back or forward and that. So he's not really that kind of a ruckman, really. And then obviously the course of depth ruckman obviously had Aiden Begg and Oscar Steen, which during the year Cameron was out injured, Cox was out injured, and then obviously I think Begg and Steen were also I think Begg was also injured, and Steen, they weren't prepared to risking him playing the ruck. So we do not know on that. But in terms of back to Goldstein, apparently there is we still don't know where he's going to go. We don't know. He hasn't made a decision yet. As an unrestricted free agent. It's his choice where he goes. It's probably more and more likely it's either going to be Collingwood, Essendon, or St Kilda. According to reports, it's probably going to be more than likely Collingwood. And to make matters better for the Pies, they've also been linked to Tom Doedee as well, who's a restricted free agent as well. So that reports now. So next Friday is when the free agency period opens. So the possibility of a busy trade period really for Collingwood, obviously linked to Goldie, and then obviously Tom Doedee as well. All the ruck and all the tools as well. It's basically a lot of interest there, basically in terms of that. Moving on to Hawthorn. So obviously we all know they were linked to Asada Radaglia and Ben Mackay. Obviously, unfortunately, Radaglia requested a trade to Port Adelaide, and we all know Ben Mackay requested a trade to Essendon. But they didn't leave completely empty-handed. Obviously, they're going. Of course, Liam Henry, small defender from Fremantle, requested. They weren't. Or actually, no. Sorry about that. They were also empty-handed as well in Liam Henry. Obviously, he requested a trade to St Kilda. So they missed out on all three of them. So yeah. But they have one eye on next year's key forwards who are off contract. The three main ones are Todd Marshall, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, and Ben King. Those are the ones that are currently going to be unsigned, their contracts running out at the end of next season as well. So it's probably going to be a lot more interesting, and also according to reports also is that they're also intrigued. They were also interested as well, a little bit interested in Nick Larkey. That was before he re-signed with North Melbourne as well. So obviously, and then obviously, of course, and also just to add to that as well, Aaron Norton as well. But it's highly unlikely that Norton will go to another Melbourne club. It's either him stays at the Bulldogs or he goes to Western Australia, which he is from. I think he's from Western Australia. So that is probably the place he would go. But Todd Marshall, I don't think it'll be Ben King, because I think he either stays at the Gold Coast or he goes to St Kilda with his brother Max. But you never know. Essendon have been linked to him. Collingwood's been linked to him. It's probably highly unlikely though that they would be interested in him. And then obviously Ugle-Hagan. I don't think it's highly unlikely he would leave the safety of the Bulldogs. I don't think so. I think he's safe there. Marshall's the interesting one. The only doubt I would have is I don't think Port Adelaide would let him go. But out of the four, I think he's the most likely that would say, I want out. He's the more likely. I know there's Ben King, or or let's say Tom, or let me rephrase, or let me try and do that again. Tom Marshall would be the one that would say, you know, oh, I want to go to Hawthorn. I want to go to Hawthorn because there's probably ever more likely Banking's going to say, oh, I want to go to St Kilda. I want to go to Collingwood and that. While Mara and Norton are basically going to say, oh, well, Mara's going to say, oh, I'm just going to stay at the Bulldogs, while Norton's going to tell, well, sorry, I'm either staying at the Bulldogs or I'm going back home to WA. So Marshall, I believe, is the more interesting one, I believe, in my opinion. So yeah, because, you know, and obviously, of course, you know, with, you know, Jacob Kazitsky, you know, announced, and of course, requesting a trade to Richmond. Yeah, so a bit lacking in terms of their key forwards. So they've got one eye on 2024 in terms of the trade period for key forwards. Moving down west now to the West Coast Eagles, where apparently West Coast swingman or key position player Jake Waterman, he about a month or so ago did request a trade. I do not know where he requested a trade to. I do not know which clubs was interested. It doesn't say here which clubs were interested in him. I don't think it said. But it was reported. But it was reported about early last week that he has backflipped on his trade request and he has re-signed with West Coast. Doesn't say how many years though. It says here, yeah, until the end of 2025. So a 2-year deal. He's re-signed the club for after requesting a trade, which yeah. I'm worried about it first when he goes back into preseason training that his teammates will go, why did you request a trade, and then basically backflipped on it. But eventually as it goes on, they'll probably understand why, because apparently it said here at least four clubs were interested in him, and I don't know which clubs were there. I don't really know. I don't know really. Which of the four clubs? I'm interested to see what the four clubs would be. If anybody from Western Australia has read the article, read the article about this, in the Western Australian about this, comment down below if you can tell which of the four clubs he was interested in, were interested in Jake Waterman. I don't know, but yeah, so pretty much, actually, let me rephrase that. So apparently, it was reported a 2-year contract extension. It was reported that was a 2-year contract extension. I thought it was a 2-year contract extension, but I don't know if they're gonna offer that straight away, or it's just gonna be a 1-year deal, pretty much. But yeah, that's probably gonna be the more interesting part. But yeah, it's pretty interesting. I'd love to know which four clubs were interested in Jake Waterman. That's what I would love to know, really, on that front. Next up to St Kilda, where Ross Lyon spoke about the rumours that have arisen that of course we all know the rumours of Jay Gresham going to Essendon are getting louder and louder and louder. as the days and weeks go by. And apparently it came out recently that Dylan Shield could be the guy that it has to be on the way out to St Kilda to get Gresham into Tullamarine. For which Ross Lyon responded with this, which this was what he said. This was what he said. I'm trying to find what he actually said. This is what he said. There's a lot of noise around it. I know he missed the last 10 rounds with quite a few injuries. It certainly wasn't generated from us. So I'm not sure where that's all come from, to be honest. So according to what Ross Lyon has said, that he doesn't know anything. Quite simply, doesn't know anything about it. He doesn't know anything about the rumours that Dylan Shield could go to St Kilda in purpose of the trade for Gresham. So it's pretty much all it. Obviously, of course, Dylan Shield. In terms of in my thoughts on this, I think for me, if it's to get a slightly better, because it's hard to tell who's the better player, really, Shield or Gresham, really. It's hard to tell. But, Shield, he hasn't really... I mean, it's hard to tell because in terms of a midfielder, he's really has gotten better, really in the last year or two. In the last year or two, but really, but he hasn't really gotten to the player that he was when he was at GWS, to be honest. So, and maybe get Gresham in, which is uncertain. I'm a bit 50-50 on it, basically. But to be fair, if Gresham did, if Shield were to stay on the team, it wasn't part of the deal for Gresham, and Gresham comes to the club, and basically Shield and Gresham are part of Essendon. I don't know who would be benefited more. Would it be would Brad Scott want Gresham in the best 22? Would he still want Shield in the best 22? Would there be room for both? Could Shield play again in the midfield, or Gresham be playing as more of it, maybe a half forward? I don't know, but yeah. So pretty much, yeah. In terms of that, really, I suppose. But yeah, and then obviously Essendon, I was a bit concerned about their trade business because they wasn't linked to anyone, but that's literally BS because they are linked to a lot of players. Obviously, we all know that Ben Mackay has chosen Essendon. Todd Goldstein, he's been linked to, as I said before, he's probably most likely now to go to Collingwood. And also as well with Gresham as well, we've been linked to Jack Billings as well, who is contracted, but he hasn't had many opportunities, if not barely any opportunities in the starting 22% Kilda this season at all. So apparently, and also what it says here is it is yet to be seen whether one or both of Gresham or Billings will make up any portion of any package involving Shield. So it's not been confirmed as of yet, but we'll find out over the next couple of weeks. as well. And also, according to Gresham, apparently there's a deal on the table by St Kilda to remain at Moorabbin, but it's yet to be seen whether he signs that deal or he does elect to leave. So we don't know when that's going to happen in a way. So it's pretty interesting to see what happens on that front. So moving on to North Melbourne, with Clarko, with Alistair Clarkson and his thoughts on Mackay's requesting to leaving to Essendon, and then obviously the compensation picks as well for him, because there's been a lot of rumours that basically they would get pick 3 if Mackay does leave. And it's also had to coincide on Monday night before news came on Monday before the Brownlow night. It was announced by the AFL Commission that the Roos would be given a priority package, which included I believe. I'm trying to remember. I remember I read it somewhere there, but yeah. So pretty much, which was gifted pretty much of. I'm trying to read this now. Here we go. So pretty much two first round draft choices, as well as a second rounder, spread across both this draft and in the draft this year and next year's draft as well. So that was the assistance package on that. But he did went on SCN to talk about, of course, the Mackay deal, and then obviously the compensation pick that goes with that. And this is what he said. This is what Clarko said. I mean, we can't lose him for a back end of first round or second round pick, Clarkson stated. We'll see how that plays out, but hopefully the compensation will be somewhere at the top. Which is probably which is most rumors were that if this deal was to be done, it would be pick 3. That would be the compensation for North Melbourne for Mackay, which is basically confused most people, to be honest, including me. But hearing in terms of how young he is, I think he's about 23, 24, around that. And obviously, of course, he's only just started off. Of course, he's been in the system for about 5 or 6 years. That just basically confirms, obviously, it just deserves. And obviously, with him, depending on what he's going to be paid by Essendon, that's the compensation that's going to happen. It's going to happen. So pick 3, really, for North Melbourne, for Mackay is probably the right amount. But as Clarko says, they're probably they are going to play hardball in of course. They are going to play hardball for Mackay, but obviously the deal. Obviously they of course Mackay and Essendon want to get the deal done as quick as possible. But North Melbourne probably would not want to get rid of him without the right compensation, which is probably pick 3 would probably be the right one. So moving on. So the next 2 to Port Adelaide, to South Australia now for these next 3. part of the topics here. So it was confirmed. Confirmed earlier last week that that Port Adelaide that Brandon Thatcher has already decided to move back home to South Australia with a move to Port Adelaide. Of course, obviously with Ben Mackay, it's obviously certain that he's going to go to Essendon. That's when obviously, and then obviously, he's not the only key defender that Port Adelaide are into. Obviously, they're also going to get a sale of Ratugolea as well. My thoughts on this one, to be honest, I'm unlike the D'Ambrosio one where I was a bit 50-50 on it. This one I'm 100% certain I'm happy for him to leave because one, in the back half of the season, he was bloody freaking useless against the. He done his best against guys like Jesse Hogan, that sort of stuff, but he was just god awful. He was just god awful. There was a lot of times where he would just lose concentration, and there would be times where he would just be like if you're a key defender, right? And the key forward marks the ball inside forward 50, and if you end up like about 3-4 meters behind him, and then the odd occasion where you're like 10-15 meters, where he's like 10-15 meters in front of you and takes the mark, probably on the one or two occasions, but most of the times like 4 or 5 meters, like just like here, then it's fine. What I learnt was constantly, it wasn't just once, it was constantly for Zerk Thatcher, the key forward, in this case it was Norton or Hogan or Cox or someone else like that. They would or Hawkins in this case, they would lead out. And he would be like 10-15 meters behind them as they took the mark inside forward 50, and it didn't just happen once or twice. It happened almost every single time, and that's for me down to concentration for me, and yeah, so that's why I'm very happy to see him leave, to be honest, and also he's a South Australian boy, so you can head home and that sort of stuff as well. But yeah, so, and then obviously with Ben Mackay coming in, that's obviously not surprising. Apparently, according to this, they are going to play hardball, which I don't know why they're going to play hardball with him, to be honest. I don't know why they're playing hardball. Just let him go and just focus on on the other deals like Gresham and Billings and all that. Why with that sort of thing? So yeah, so yes, that's my opinion, obviously. And obviously, just to add to that, obviously it was confirmed. Obviously, it was confirmed that about a few days ago. That apparently Port Adelaide are reporting are open to dealing their future first round pick away. But the question there is who to, because obviously they're not only interested in Jordan Sweet, of course, Ratugolea and Zerk Thatcher are going over there as well. And also, to add further intrigue into this, they're also trying to lure, apparently, it's the first time I actually read this, by the way, that trying to lure Ivan Soldo from Richmond to support Sweet for next season. So, of course, they've already got life set. So and to add Sweet and Soldo into it, to add a bit of depth to their ruck stocks, which has been very highly publicly criticised for Port Adelaide as their lack of ruck stocks. So I don't know where. I would more use it for the Radaglia deal, which I will do it later in terms of the trade deals, the Braves trade deals as well. So that is pretty interesting, really, about that, to be honest. In terms of that, really for Port. Next up to the other team, the South Australian and the Crows. Apparently, contracted forward Elliot Himmelberg is apparently reportedly open to the idea of going to GWS to join his brother Harry at GWS. Obviously, Harry himself was linked away to GWS, one of the highly interested free agents, but he re-signed with GWS earlier in the year, and so I think for me, joining his brother will be a big thing, really, for him as well. But and I don't think he has had many what's the word? Many opportunities at the Crows as well. I think I'm trying to read. Try to read here. Yeah, he only played 3 games this year. So and 11 senior games throughout his seven-year career since he got drafted. So maybe a link to GWS may be a good thing for him. A couple more. Obviously Geelong. Apparently it is reported that they are prepared to part ways with pick 7, which and obviously are open to moving up into the draft, which is revealed by footy boss Andrew Mackey. So I want, and that would be a possibility of trading pick 7 to go up the draft table. I don't know. I know. I think I know. I think for me, I think they should use this pick 7 if they're wanting to draft it away or trade it away. I'll use it in the Radaglia deal, and again, I'll show what I mean by that when I get to the Bray trade deals. But there was other things that say which are already 57 minutes on this video, so I'm not gonna list down exactly what he said, but and it's even said in Radaglia. It even says the trade request of Radaglia as well in this article that I've read about him, them wanting to give away pick 7. So it's obvious for me. In my opinion, I believe they should use that in the Radaglia deal, to be honest. And finally, to round off the agenda, I've got Richmond. Obviously, they're going to be set for a bit of a tough off season. Obviously, of course, with new coach Adam Muse coming into the role, because apparently they don't have that much draft picks and not that much future draft picks to play with, to be honest, because obviously they spent all of it on getting Tim Taranto and Jacob Hopper. Now they were good. They were great in 2023, especially Tim Taranto. Obviously, that probably hurt Kane Corns. Would hurt Kane Corns to say after his criticism of him during the year. So obviously, of course, like to Cochin and Revolt, Cochin, Revolt, Castagna, and Tarrant have all obviously retired. it's still a big question mark on likes of Dylan Grimes and Toby Nankervis. But it's not all doom and gloom for them. Obviously, they are linked. That obviously, a week or so ago, they announced that obviously Jacob Kaczynski announced that he would requested a trade to Richmond. So that's not the end of the world really for Richmond, but they don't have that many future draft picks as well because of the deals for Trento and Hopper that obviously they would have to deal with. So and plus also they've got players on the way out as well in terms of as I said earlier, there was rumors that Ivan Soldo could potentially go to Port Adelaide. And then also Hugo Ralph-Smith as well. We still don't know where his future lies as well, if he's going to stay at Richmond or he will leave Punt Road. So obviously we still don't know about that in a way. Finally, to round off this video, the first edition for the year of Braves trade deals. It's basically a Port Adelaide edition for this first episode. So we got the Zerk Thatcher. So we got Brendan Zerk Thatcher, the Port, Jordan Sweet, and Asada Radaglia. Now I have a feeling that they can have all three of these players. Sign all three of these players without choosing get this one and this one but not that. I'm certain they can get all three of these, and this is how they do it. So for me, start with the Zerk Thatcher deal. I would just part with a future. If I was Essendon, I'd part with a future third, and then I'll give them a future fourth round pick. As well as Zerk Thatcher, and then Essendon get a future third round, because just to get the deal done, and there was rumours that Essendon going to play hardball, but really I don't think they should. To be honest, I think they should let him go. To be honest, Sweet to Port Adelaide. Now I've chosen for Port Adelaide to get a future to not only give Sweet but also a future second round, and while on the other hand, Western Bulldogs get pick 44. Now this is the reason being because the Bulldogs have already got pick 37 in the second round, and so by having pick 44, that would mean they would have 2 picks in the second round. So while obviously I would say have pick 38, but so that means that the Bulldogs have pick 37 and 38, but really I don't think they would really accept that, really, to be honest. So the deal would be Sweet that Port Adelaide would get Jordan Sweet, and they would get the Bulldogs future second round, while the Bulldogs would get pick 44. And the Asada Radaglia one, I thought really hard about this. And this is what I believe. And this makes sense as well. For me, this makes sense. In a lot of ways. Port Adelaide, I believe that this is what the deal is. Port Adelaide would get Radaglia and pick 7. Because they are... But wait, this is the interesting part. I think Geelong would get pick 38 and a future first, because that makes a lot of sense. Geelong are willing to trade pick 7, while Port Adelaide obviously are reported to open to trade their future first round. And obviously Radaglia is requested a trade to Port Adelaide. So with that makes a whole lot more sense in my opinion at least. So, but I would love to see, you know, comments down below what your trade dealings would be. Not just in terms of Cirque Thatcher, the Jordan Sweet, and the Saturday Galea to Port Adelaide, but others like, you know, like the Gresham to Essendon, Elijah Hollands to Carlton. What would those deals would be? I would love to hear your thoughts about it as well. But yeah, so that's the end of that, and that's pretty much the end of this first episode, really, of the BD AFL trade talk for 2023. So it's a very, very long one, but it's obviously quite worth it, really. If you've made it this far into the video, it's above an hour and just over an hour. I applaud you. So like this video. Shares to anybody who is an Essendon fan or a Port Adelaide fan or a Geelong fan or a Gold Coast fan, something like that. And one last thing, somewhere down there, click on the big red button which is labelled subscribe. But until next time, guys, I'll see you guys later, and wherever you may be, may the sun or the moon shine on your team in this upcoming trade period.